there is an active work against the Christians to discredit them and persecute them, they are being attacked by Satan. However, he goes on to remind them in verse 10 to be faithful, even in the face of persecution. Read with me again, verse 10. Do not fear what you are about to suffer. Behold, the devil is about to throw some of you into prison, that you may be tested, and for 10 days you will have tribulation. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. Now notice what Jesus says in verse 9 is very much connected to what we see here in verse 10. The reference in verse 9 to the synagogue of Satan and then the devil throwing some of them in jail in verse 10 is the glue that holds this idea together. How does the work that the devil would do throw them into jail? What does that look like? Very simply, he is stirring up slander amongst the Jews. They're going to the Roman officials, and the Christians are, in turn, being thrown into jail. They are a synagogue of Satan because they're under the influence of Satan. They do the work of slandering Christians so effectively that the Romans think them to be a real threat. And so they take them, they imprison them. Imagine being so hardened against another group of people. Imagine hating them so much that you would willingly allow yourself to be a tool of Satan to knowingly do that which would land them in prison and have them killed in the end. That's exactly what they were doing. It's absolutely evil. But Jesus' point is this is not the last word by a long shot. Remember, the main emphasis in this letter is an encouragement. Notice he says that it is that they may be tested. And we see this concept all throughout the Bible, and it's literally rendered that we are proven by trial. In other words, when God puts us through a trial, when we are tested, his purpose is to prove to us for ourselves that our faith is real. Why does that matter? Well, it's proof to us that no trial will ultimately overcome our faith. We may struggle along the way. Certainly we may stumble along the way. We're going to have trials. But what is our tendency going to be? To want to fix it on our own? To get frustrated with others? To get mad and tell them off? To get anxious and angry or defeated or sad? Or to start questioning ourselves or even to start questioning God? And all of this sort of tosses us around a bit. When we come out on the other end, still on our feet, then we can look back and say, wow, I really do know that God is with me. I really do know that my faith in him is real. But it also reveals to us that where we struggle, areas where we aren't trusting God, areas where we are prone to sin, areas where we don't look to Christ, that we might grow more faithful, that we might find hope and help through our testing, that we might rest all the more readily upon Christ the next time we're faced with a trial. But notice something else remarkable here in the text. Who ultimately is in control? Well, it's certainly not Satan. He can only do as much as the Lord allows him to do. So look what's going on here. Jesus, being the determiner of time, is able to reveal that there is a tribulation coming, but the time will be brief. He's telling them, yes, it's going to be bad. Yes, it's going to be painful, but it's going to be brief. Hang in there, he's telling them. It's going to be over soon. So he can exhort them rightly. Don't be fearful. Don't back away. Be faithful. But this statement that they will have 10 days of tribulation, it's actually an allusion to Daniel chapter 1, where the testing of Daniel and his three friends took place for 10 days. And that's repeated twice in the book of Daniel. But you'll remember during this period, they went without